no fear. Now that would be my answer to your comment. Now, who can do that and who can do that for France? Well, I'm sure you can get my meaning.
Merci, Monsieur le Président.
I would like to thank you for this speech. I would also like the organizers for this conversation. Mr. President, you spoke about the world, about ISIS. We support you in everything you said. But what about the Arab Maghreb? You know that stability cannot be achieved without this region. And we know that in this region we are suffering from the presence of Al-Qaeda and ISIS. All of this comes from the desert of this region. You have friend relations with Morocco and with this region. Isn't it possible to put an end to these problems? Of course, in this region, I would like to know what is your opinion as a previous or as a former president, and I hope that you will be winning the next elections. Can you please tell us how we can solve this problem in this region? Thank you.
Well, I was led to understand that that would be the last question. Well, it's a very thorny question, if I may say so. Well, first of all, because the difference between Maghreb and Mashreb, to my mind, isn't truly meaningful. Allow me to say that I strongly believe that the top priority, the top political priority for France today should be to work with the Mediterranean. And I think it's extremely unfortunate that my project for a union of the Mediterranean was mothballed, so to speak. Every time we turn our backs on the Mediterranean, we turned our backs on our own past, or so we thought, but we also crossed out our own future. This union for the Mediterranean, of course I'm fully aware of the existing problems due to the Israel-Palestine conflict, but this union for the Mediterranean, bringing together countries from the north and the south to work hand in hand, that work is of crucial importance. We have His Excellency, the Ambassador from Morocco, with us today. Now, the border, the Moroccan-Tunisian border has been closed for, the Moroccan-Algerian border has been closed for 10 years now. Opening up that border would be so extraordinarily beneficial for Morocco, Algeria and Tunisia. Now, of course, Western Sahara has also proved to be a thorny issue. France's position has always been clear-cut. France has always defended the position according to which the Western Sahara is simply Moroccan, and it would take a lot to convince me of the need for a new Sahrawi republic in this country of the world that is already so deeply hit by terrorism in Mali, Nigeria and other countries. Now, I should also add that not every country is fortunate enough to have a sovereign such as the King of Morocco, who, in the midst of the Arab Spring, modified the Moroccan constitution, taking, as he did so, considerable political risks, which I believe were instrumental in guaranteeing peace in Morocco. Just imagine what might have happened if the King of Morocco had not made that extremely difficult political choice to pick the Prime Minister among the leading political party following the elections. I mean, that was a very risky political decision to make, and one that was very difficult to impose on his own friends. Now, of course, Algeria is also very tricky to talk about. I love that country deeply, But discussing Algeria always leads to endless controversies, despite the tremendous wealth of that country, the beauty of its population. But the question of its modernization, of its economic modernization, has to be put on the table. Together with Pierre Lelouch, when we were in Algeria and we saw side by side some of the most beautiful ceramics in the history of humankind, and right next to them, bullet strikes. I mean, that was a very stark summary of the conflict that is at play. Now, we need to help them, of course. Their success will mean peace for us, and their failure will be a tragedy for us. I was recently discussing with Donald Tusk, the chairman of the European Union, who was coming back from a tour of Lebanon, Jordan, and Turkey. And Donald Tusk was telling us that 10 million potential refugees are hoping to make their way to Europe. We cannot host them all. We cannot open our arms to them all. They will need to find work and peace in their own countries, failing which Europe as a whole will be overwhelmed by a tidal wave that will be entirely out of control. And I believe that we should set up today a kind of a European Marshall Plan for Northern Africa, and in fact, and for the Middle East, and for Africa as a whole. Africa, 1.2 billion inhabitants today, 2.3 billion 30 years from now, and there's only 12 kilometers between Africa and Europe. 30 years from now, the population of Nigeria will be larger than the population of the United States of America. Those are the realities that we need to face up to today. The birth rate for African families lies between 5 to 7 children per woman. Now, Africa is doing better today. There is economic growth in Africa, but who could possibly resist that kind of demographic pressure? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for giving me this opportunity to address this audience. I'd like to thank you for having organized this this event and this occasion for discussion and exchange. It was a great pleasure and a great honor for me to be here today. And let us not be mistaken. In France and in Europe, you have good and solid friends who love you, who admire you, and who wish nothing other than your full success. Thank you for your attention.